Hello, 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 everyone. It's the Martine Show is about to get started. 8 p.m. EST. We're right here. Tonight we're going to have Lucy, who will be with us. Lucy Hudson, going to be speaking about her self-love journey with us. Invitation. Hello. For those logging in, hello to everyone. Just to let you all know, tonight we're having a Martine Show. Hi, Lucy.
Hello, how are you?
Awesome. And she got her glasses on too. So
Listen, I can't see, so
all right. So real quick, let me just introduce everyone.
okay.
Tonight is the Martine Show, 8 p.m. EST. We just started. It's a self-love journey all about self-awareness, self-development, and everything social. Everything we discuss comes straight from the guests, okay? And the conversation just flows. So we're going to learn about Lucy Hudson tonight. And I look forward for everyone to embracing her with love on the platform. So right now we're having a slight difficulty here, a technical difficulty happening, but I know it's going to correct itself. Yes, uh-oh. Lucy's going to come right back on.
Okay, here I go. Yes, I'm
All
outside.
right.
So I'm like
Don't worry,
saying
it
it,
happens.
I'm
It
like this. Okay,
happens.
okay.
How are you
I
today?
am fine, thank you. I'm fine. I'm on vacation. My last day of work was yesterday, so I have been in Myrtle Beach since Saturday. So I took some time off. So now I'm trying to enjoy my vacation. So yeah, I'm doing
Awesome.
great. I'm doing great. Great, great,
Awesome. You
great.
you look you look lovely. You look lovely.
Thank you. Thank you. So do you.
Thank
So do
you. Thank you. And I
you.
love the hairstyle.
Thank you. My little 16-year-old niece actually hooked me up probably about 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago. Yes.
It's
Yes. Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you.
Okay, so this is how it's going to go.
Okay.
You're going to introduce yourself and the
Okay.
conversation will flow from there, okay?
Okay. Okay. All right. So how much do you want me to say about myself? Just a general
Whatever you're willing to
introduction or
share,
whatever?
girl, because I know you got a
Okay.
lot in your bag of
Okay.
tricks.
Okay. So, well, my name is Lucy Hudson, and I come from a small town in Virginia called Emporia, Virginia. I have to always rep Emporia. I am an associate minister, so director of youth ministries at the 7th Street Memorial Baptist Church in Richmond, Virginia, on the north side of Richmond. So that's where I worship. I have been at VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University. I'm an alumni of Virginia Commonwealth University. I've been there over 20 years when you include my student years. So I am an employee there. I'm the director of academic operations for the Department of Psychology. So I oversee the graduate and undergraduate daily operations. Um, I have a bachelor's of science in urban studies, a bachelor of arts in religious studies from BCU as well, a master's of education in adult learning, and I'm currently in my final year of the Doctor of Education program in higher education leadership. So I am like all things higher ed, from trying to get students into graduate programs or just trying to help students actually matriculate through their undergraduate programs. I am the owner of Hope Learning Tutorials. It's an academic coaching company that actually provides tutoring services in reading and writing for students. I am the director of the Lighthouse Literacy Project, which is in an ode to my dad. My dad actually transitioned on today. So I strategically chose this date on today because to celebrate his life and his legacy. So the Lighthouse Literacy Project is just basically bringing literacy initiatives to rural areas, since I'm from a rural area, and also to impoverished neighborhoods. So the things that we do in about 2 years, I'm hoping we're going to actually have a mobile bus that will actually take the books into the neighborhood. But we have collected over
Mhm.
800 books since June, I'm gonna say December. We passed out 200 when we launched in July. So we have passed out 200 books to youth and adults in the last month, which to me is like amazing because we just launched in July 1st. So literacy is an ode to my dad, who actually passed away in 2018 at the age of 91, and he never learned to read or write. But he pushed his children to become who we are today. So this is who I am. I'm made up of him, and I'm here today pushing others to become who they need to be called to in God and also in themselves. So that's me in a nutshell.
Wow. I'm so taken by everything that you just shared. Wow. That is so beautiful, so touching. And I'm so happy that you're making such a difference in your world.
Thank
It's
you.
it's yeah, that's a lot. As a matter of fact, we
Thank
do
you.
have something in common.
Okay.
My mother runs a literacy program for the past 30
Wow.
years.
Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
yes, she's been she started with it was called from the very beginning Haitian Women for Haitian Refugees,
Mhm. Mhm.
and basically helping and teaching women and men how to read and write once they come to the
Yes.
States from Haiti.
Mhm.
And then she continued on with that was one organization. So she started with that and then afterwards went and created her own. So she has
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
Employment Center um, organization that she runs.
Yes.
And it's been for 30 something years altogether. She's really instructed so many thousands of people how to read and
Yes.
write, and they're well on their way
Yes.
doing what they need to do. They're very sufficient,
Mhm.
in their world, and they've gained employment just out of these programs.
Wow.
They can communicate effectively. They can utilize their cell phone. So I know
Mhm.
exactly what that is all about, and
Mhm.
um, it takes a very distinct type of initiative to stay committed to that
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
it's tough.
It
It's
is.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be committed to the cause because if not, you'll waver because, sometimes the people they're interested and they're not interested. So, but you
Yeah.
can't be shaken by their non-interest, but you have to keep going. So one of the things I do, my family have rallied around me. I have friends who rallied behind me. So I always tell myself I'm not going off of the quantity, I'm going off the quality. So if I get
Yes.
stuck on the quantity, I'm stuck on who's not coming, how many books I'm giving out, how many people are attending. So I look at the quality of the person who's coming. If they're excited about the books and they're excited about what's happening, that's what I go off of. And that's what drives me to say, Lucy, keep going. Even when I'm discouraged, I'm down and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm tired. Something says keep going. When I want to throw in the towel, something says keep going. And my keep going was probably about 2 weeks ago. I couldn't attend one event. I was at another event for Lighthouse Literacy, and my nephews and my nieces actually went, and they set up the table. And before they could even finish, people were coming for the books, and they were excited about the books. So that made me excited because I was like, okay, the first one, people weren't really excited, but we passed out books. This one, people were excited about the book, saying, oh, we can actually get the books. And they were like, yeah, you can take as many as you want. So to see that happen, it just brought joy to my face to say, Lucy, keep going because God will take you into neighborhoods where people are going to appreciate this and they're going to be
Hmm.
hungry for you to come back. So
Hmm.
that's what keeps me driving, just the pull from other people.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I want to ask you is there a specific age group for your program for the participants? Is it just adults or?
We do adults and youth. So we
Hmm.
go K through 12. So we have books for K through 12. So the books K through 12, and we have some adult books as well. But our focus is K through 12 because we're trying to make sure students are prepared after graduating. But
Hmm.
we also want to make sure students are prepared at the second and third grade level. Because if you're not prepared at second and third grade, that creates the prison and pipeline. So we also want to make sure that they are ready at second and third grade. But also, we do go to like eighth grade, 12th grade. So it's K through 12. But for the adults, what we're actually planning to do probably in January is actually offer services like reading and writing courses for them.
Hmm.
Probably in January, we're going to try to have some partnerships. We have one with the church back home in Emporia, which is my original home church back home in Emporia. But we're actually going to partner with them and probably another organization and actually offer reading classes for adults. Because there are some adults who can't read or struggle to read, but they're embarrassed. But so we want to
Yeah.
create a space where they can actually come in, feel empowered, and I'll use the model of my dad's story. And a lot of people in the area where I'm from, they know my dad. So if they hear his story, they'll be more apt to say, well, if he carried himself in a way of like dignity and strength, I can do the same thing. So
Mhm.
that's what we plan to do in January, is actually start the reading classes, which is the second initiative of Lighthouse Literacy Project.
That is so powerful. So, so very powerful. Congratulations on
Oh,
that.
thank you. Bless
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Thank
And
you.
let me tell you, that's not an easy program to run. It really
No.
isn't.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You
It's
have
not.
to, you're dealing with people. It's so perfect for my program here for the show because you have to deal with self-awareness, not
Mm-hmm.
only on your part, but also their part.
Mm-hmm.
And it's but so much that you could project on their part. You
Mm-hmm.
really have to drive them to get to their utmost point of self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
to,
Mm-hmm.
to accept, to say, well, I actually cannot read,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean like there are people who really cannot read or write, but
Yes.
they're very effective at their job,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and
Yes.
they make a living, and that is something that I watched my mother deal with in her organization. And for her, it was primarily adults,
Mm-hmm.
people who just coming to the States, starting a brand new life, knowing their home language and coming, to the States and now having to learn not only listen to the
Mm-hmm.
dialect of English, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, knowing how to actually read and write so that they can,
Yes.
you know, that's not simple. That's not
Mm-mm.
something very simple,
Mm-mm.
you
It's
know.
not. It's not. And that's one thing, like I always tell people, even when I'm tutoring kids and like in reading and they're like, embarrassed or ashamed about the reading comprehension, I tell them, I say, okay, second and third grade, I had a stutter. And they were like, what? You had a stutter?
Yeah,
Yeah, I had a stutter.
yeah,
I said, so I didn't want to read. I didn't want to answer questions, even if I knew the answer, because I was afraid. My palms would sweat because I was afraid when they called on me, I would start stuttering and people would laugh. So it took me years, like practice of reading out loud and telling myself that I could do it in order for me to get over that fear, and my stutter left.
yeah,
So I'm learning now how to just navigate that space and share my story with others so that they too can be able to go forward. It's tough to navigate that space. It's tough to share your story, but the older I am, the more I become self-aware of saying that people can't be delivered from where they are if you don't share your story, because there's a
yeah,
power in your testimony. So I share my testimony with others to let them know, if I was able to get here, you can too. Yes, it takes practice, it takes encouragement, but you can get there too.
absolutely. And I'm glad that you talked about sharing your story, and you specifically said share your story, which is really, really important factor that people need to understand. Sharing the story is really sharing what you went through, but to
Mhm.
allow people to identify that there is a solution to the problem,
Mhm.
not simply sharing the story to create, like I call a trauma bond. Like, I went
Mhm.
through this, you went through this, and let's have a pity party. No, it's
Mhm.
not like that.
Right. Right.
It's for the sake of identification so
Mhm.
that we can identify one another and be like, okay, we both went through this. Now let's move into the solution factor. What's the solution?
Mhm.
'Cause
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm very upbeat on that when it comes to sharing my story, but I also want to focus on what's next. Okay,
Yes.
now that I went through this, I don't want to stay in that
Mhm.
avenue. I don't want to stay in
Mhm.
that area. I want to move
Mhm.
forward. I'm about the solution.
Mhm.
What can I do?
Mhm.
You know?
So, with me, one of the things that I do, I journal a lot and I write. So, writing and journaling, that's my thing. So, even if I'm in a bad mood, even if I'm meeting with students, I have them journal and write to figure out what's happening. So, I journal and write. So, I lead this group of women, and it's called Successfully Walking. So, what Successfully Walking is, it's a group of women. We come together. I lead them through a vision mapping exercise every like December, January, depends. So we go through a vision mapping exercise. But before we go through that vision mapping exercise, I lead them through the model that was given to me through prayer. So I lead them through that model. And before we even start, we talk about triggers and we talk about things that have held him back. So through that moment, we cry, we laugh, we share, but we also say, now that we're here, what happens after this? So we begin to come together and figure out what are our next steps and where can we go from here. So over the course of that year, what we do is we begin to I do check-ins. And we check in to figure out, okay, are you stagnated? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? If not, all right, do
Yes.
you want to meet? And I do that because they push me and I push them. So for instance, we had one and she was saying how she needed to press like send on something. And I was like, girl, call me. I'll press send for you so you can go ahead and do what you got to do. And then I
Yes.
came the next week. I was like, oh my God, when this opportunity came up, I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And I sent the message to my sister Joy, and she was like, girl, if you don't go ahead and do that, how you going to tell somebody to do something and you scared to do it? And I was like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and press submit. So we empower each other to get over those humps to get to where we need to be. And I have seen God just take us to like avenues whether it's, I have people who like purchase homes in that year. Family relationships were rekindled because they brought all of that to the table and they put it out there. And I believe that if you put it out in the atmosphere, if you put it down, I don't know where everybody's religion is. If you put it down, whoever your deity is, they're going to pick it up. And when they pick
Yes.
it up, they're going to activate whatever you need to
Yes.
activate. So for me, mine is God. So I believe that I'm going to put it down and God going to pick it up. And when he picks it up, he's going to activate it. So I've seen God pick it up, and he activate it, and he'll keep it going. He'll pick it up, activate it. So I believe that whatever I write down, because you got to write the vision, make it plain. If I write it down, God going to pick it up. So that's how I like walk through life. And that's how I feel like things are manifesting, because I believe that if I write it down, and it's purposeful, and I'm saying, God, I'm going to do my part, but I strategically do my part, because faith without works is dead. We want to have the faith that God will do it, but we don't want to put in the work. So what I
Yeah.
do is I'm going to have faith. I write it down, but then what I do, I go ahead and start doing a little work. I'm like, all right, God, now which way you want me to go? I might not be feeling how he want me to go. I'm like, all right, God, I look real stupid out here on this limb, but I'm gonna go ahead and take this step, okay? Because my grandmother used to say, if you take one step, God take two. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take that step. Let's see what's gonna happen. And I do that because I believe God is going to do it. And those around me begin to believe that God will do it because they see God moving for you. So I try to push people to become self-aware about their life and where they are. You get there, okay, we have that pity part. I'll cry with you. I'll get on the floor and fight with you, however you want to do to handle this thing. But when we get up, what you gonna do? So that's like I push people to get to where they're supposed to be. Because when I graduated from high school, my dad basically told me on the porch, I'll never forget it. He said, go and don't come back. And I said, well, Lord, he put me out the house. You know, that's what I'm thinking in my little simple mind. And my mom was like, girl, no. Your daddy is telling you to leave because you're from a rural area and there's nothing here. And since there's
Mm.
nothing here, he wanted you to leave because he knows that there's something greater for you. So I believe that
Mm.
my dad knew my purpose and knew who I would become long before I started walking into it. And he knew I had to leave in order for it to manifest, because if I had stayed there, it wouldn't have happened. But I had to
Yeah.
make sure she left. So he had to be a little hard on me to make sure that I left so that purpose could take place. And that's what happened. I wrote it down. I was writing then, and now I'm here now. But it's just about learning how to become self-aware and not being afraid to take that step in faith. It's hard, but you got to take that step in faith. Even if you don't know what's happening, or even if you don't know what the next step, who's going to be there, God will send people. You just got to have that faith and take that step.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that you shared the whole journaling part and the deep part that you shared about your dad saying that it's time for you to go. Like,
Mm-hmm.
now that you graduate, you got to go. Because that's an important part of life that I believe many of us do not always get the opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
experience, because your dad, he did two things in one,
Mm-hmm.
basically. He had to sacrifice to allow
Mm-hmm.
you the permission for you to go, which is a
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice on his part, you know? And then also, to reassure himself that she's going to be okay, you know, out there, and to give you the opportunity for you to be who you ought to be.
Yes.
That's major. You know, that takes a lot, and not every parent is able to do that for whatever the reason may be. And I'm saying this, you know, I want to make it clear. I'm not saying one is right over the other, you know, because the parents who do not say stuff like that or give those opportunities, it doesn't make things wrong for them either. But a parent who's a little more relaxed, and I would say maybe a little more liberal, you know, and puts the child, or you know, in the position where it's like it's okay, that makes things a lot easier and better to move forward, you know, and stuff. And all of us don't get to experience that, so congratulations on your father for that, because that's also a blessing. It turned out to be a blessing. Wow, you are really a diamond, girl.
Oh, bless the Lord.
You are.
Bless God.
Everything you shared, I'm like, she's dynamite. Oh my God.
Oh wow.
I
Bless God.
It's amazing. It's amazing. There are two comments I want
Okay.
to focus on here. We have I am the real James Gray, that said he had to leave to for you to grow, which is basically what I stated. But he had another little comment that I want to focus on. You are full of encouragement. Keep up the good work. Yes, she is, and thank you so much for writing that. She is, like I said, she's a diamond. Right here.
Thank you. Sometimes I don't think so. I guess because I'm like I like to stay in the background and do what I do. Like
I'm
I
one of
push
those people
others.
too. I'm
Okay,
one of
I
those
push
people too.
others, and I'm like, yeah.
Let me tell you something. I'm the type where I come to the forefront when I need to. Okay? When the time comes, like, oh, I got no choice. Okay, I'm going to do it. And then afterwards, I go back to my shell. Because truthfully, people will get it. I'm actually an introvert. Okay?
I am too. I am such an introvert. I'm like, I don't like people, but I do like people. That's what I tell people. I'm like,
Exactly.
I want to be by myself.
Okay, so we're right here. And you know, one thing I forgot to ask you before we even started, I would normally ask people like, "Are you nervous and stuff?" Because I kind of sense a little bit like yesterday that you're kind of like, "Oh my God, I'm actually gonna do this. It's gonna happen."
I am nervous. Like I was so nervous. Like yesterday, I was nervous, and I said, "Lord, I'm gonna just say, child, I can't do it." That's what I kept telling myself, and I was like, "No, Lucy, you can't do that. You can't back out. You can't be no punk. You got to keep going. You know, you got to keep going. Don't you do it." So I text 3 friends. I called 2 friends. Even before I logged on, I called one, and she was like, "Get yourself together." All right. I picked up the phone and called others, and I was like, yo, how this look? How the light look? You know, I'm asking all of these questions because, I'm nervous. I'm like, what in the world is like happening? Like, why am I doing? So yeah, very, very nervous. Yes, yes, I am.
Oh my goodness. I am the real James Gray. You two role models, and that's a great thing. Lucy has always been a big dreamer, and she is living the dream. She is. She really is.
And
Thank
that's
you
like
so
he's
much,
my
James.
best friend. Like he's one of my best friends from college. I met him in college, and he's
Okay.
also from a rural area. So yeah, we're two
Okay.
rural area people who
Big up
met
to the
in
rural
college,
area
and
people.
yo, listen, we kept going. So yes. So yeah, I was nervous, but now since I
Look, it's just a regular
yeah,
girl chat on the
it
air,
is,
girl.
it is, it is.
I'm so
Oh
loving
my
your
God.
vibe. It's so
Oh
beautiful.
goodness.
It's so beautiful. So, as you guys know, Miss Lucy Hudson here is all about education. She's an education specialist. She is all about literacy, all about academics. So, those of you who are in the chat room, if you guys have any questions related to education, academics, literacy, by all means, she is the person that you need to contact. I would suggest that if you're not following her on her social media handles, please do. Her Instagram, follow her right here. Press that button and stay updated with her endeavors. We're gonna continue to follow and really connect with Lucy so that we can stay abreast on her projects. She has a lot to share, obviously, and so much
Thank
going
you.
on, you know. So we're going to continue on with that. Now, I want to zero in
Okay.
on um, I want to zero in on Archie with you.
Okay. Okay.
So you're nominated for Archie this year?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yes, I am. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
when did you connect with Archie? Are you a member or you
No, I'm not a member at all. So my
okay.
first lady of my church, Reverend C.C. Jackson, she actually won in maybe 2015, 2016, I'm thinking. I think she won, and that's how I found out about Archie. Had no clue until she was nominated and she won. You know, we celebrated her. And that's how I found out about Archie. And then I was nominated this year for an award. So with that, I just kind of just talked about like who I am, you know, the things I've worked on, especially in higher education. I do a lot with diversity, equity, and inclusion, especially for African American students. So I express, you know, that piece because that's a big part of me. And then I talked about outside of the university, who I am and what I do outside. So one thing about me, what I do inside the university, I do it outside. So if I push inside the university, I'm pushing outside the university. And I think sometimes people are like, she just come in here and she just gonna go ahead and do it. If I see something that's a void or I see a need, I try to meet that need. And one of my things is like really up in support for Black graduate students and Black
Mhm.
undergraduate students. So with that, I'm also the um, program manager elect for the Virginia Commonwealth University African American Alumni Council Mentoring Circle. So with that, we're gonna myself and one of my brother, we're actually going to be leading that push to make sure Black students are recognized at a predominantly white institution and they have the support that they need at that PWI. So what I do outside, I do inside. So I just like all across the board. I pushed inside and outside, and I enjoy the work that I do. And I guess that's why I was nominated for Archie because I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. I love to push people. I love to encourage people, and I love to see people grow. And if I can't see you grow, what can we do to make sure that you're growing? And
Absolutely.
that's me because somebody helped me grow. So yeah.
Yes.
hmm
You
hmm
notice I said you're a diamond, right?
Yes, I did. Under
Okay.
pressure. Under pressure.
Yes. She
Under
caught
pressure.
it.
I got you. I got you. And I was
That's
under
who you
pressure this
are. That's
year.
all you
Listen.
are. You are that
Under
team,
pressure.
diamond under pressure. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
gosh. And I
You
was
just
under
keep
pressure.
pushing and pressing,
Ooh.
pushing and pressing, pushing and pressing, pushing and pressing.
Nothing
Non-stop.
nothing stops me. Nothing stops me.
And this
I
is an
think Puffy
introvert,
said it
guys.
best.
This is an
Yes, I'm
introvert.
an introvert. Thank
You
you.
see,
Sweet.
I tell people this all the time. You better be careful with these introvert type of style of people. Those personalities could throw you off. Okay.
I try to keep going. So even when I'm tired or I'm like upset or whatever, I pick up and I keep going because when I think about ministry, it's not for me, it's for others. Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
free in it, but you also free others by your push. So I just keep pushing. Like no matter what, I keep pushing. I'm learning how to take my breaks because at one point I didn't know how to. Now
That's
I
very
do.
important. That part I will
Now I
tell you
do.
for sure. That is essential.
hmm
No,
hmm
it's just all about protecting your energy, you know,
Yes.
listening to the signals. When your body says slow down, slow down. When your
hmm
body says stop, you got to stop. You
hmm
got to take a break, you know,
hmm
because if you
hmm
don't, they will force you to take a break.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
will be done in ways where it's not going to be that much pleasant, you know.
Yes. Mhm. Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
might as well just like go with the flow as
Mhm.
the signals come and
Mhm.
stuff. But like I said, you are definitely a diamond. I mean, for those of you who don't know, we've been talking about Achi. For short, Achi is a women supporting women organization, and I am part of that organization. I've been part of that organization since 2019. I was actually an awardee back in 2019 for a community leader. And ever since then, like I've been just Achi away, basically,
Mm-hmm.
like all in. I love that organization. No drama, totally drama free. It's all women, and we're all here to support one another. What I love about your story the most is that you're all about education and being a Black woman, being on the university level. That is essential that you're pushing education because nowadays the truth is a lot of people sway away from education
Mm-hmm.
because there's more fast lane, but education nevertheless is very important because it's part of your foundation. It's part of your
Mm-hmm.
formation. We all
Mm-hmm.
need to write. We all need to
Mm-hmm.
read. We all need those necessities in order to to sustain ourselves, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So with
Mm-hmm.
that being said, having you at the forefront pushing education and how important it is and moving it to a university level, I think is the most ideal thing to have you representing Black women
Mm-hmm.
all together because we need more representation.
Mm-hmm. We do. We do.
We do.
We do. A lot of my research has actually been around like Black women in academia, the
Yeah.
lack thereof, but also like Black people in academia, but most are women, and the lack thereof, but also the lack of support for
Hmm.
Black students. Because I know sometimes like Black students shy away from PWIs because they feel like they don't have the support. And I tell people, I had a chance to go to HBCU. My family couldn't afford it. We didn't have no money. We didn't have no money. Let me say it like we had no money to send me no HBCU.
Yeah.
I applied, was accepted to two, came down to the financial aid package. My mama looked at me and said, "Baby, you better go here, which is one of your other top choices, okay?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And I
Yeah.
went because the money was there, and I went. And I'm so glad that I did because I have friendships and a career that I created because I connected myself to Black people who could pull me to where I needed to be. And now I'm showing other students how to connect to Black people who can pull them where they need to be. So, like this semester, I'm teaching a leadership development for women of color course. It's a 1 credit course, freshman students, freshman young ladies. So I'm talking to them about my past and how I arrived to VCU to where I am now. So we're like chartering this, like I'm walking them through my steps of saying that, yeah, we are here at a PWI, but look, we're going to make this thing work. And this is how we can make it work. So the goal is to always get students at the beginning and help them navigate this space, navigate that space of whether you're a graduate student or undergraduate student. But also, one of my big pushes is even with my friends is to make sure that they are like pursuing their educational goals. So one of my friends now, like I'm on her like white on rice. Did you fill out your application? No,
Yeah.
when you gonna fill it out? Because if that's your passion and that's your dream, you need to fill it out, and we'll figure out the rest. Because I think
Yeah.
most of the time people are afraid because of the reading and the writing.
Yes.
And I said,
Yeah.
you can't be afraid of the reading or the writing because there are resources. So just letting people know that there are resources out there that can help you on your educational journey is so
Hmm.
important. And teaching them how to tap into those resources, like especially in higher ed, in those spaces, because you're afraid and you're afraid to fail. Because if I fail, what will my family say? If I fail, what will my friends say? But you got to go in because you don't know if you're going to fail if you don't try.
Right.
So I really push people and I encourage people to go back, whether it's a trade school, whether it's a technical school, I don't care what
Hmm.
it is. Go back, community college, 4 year institution. I just want you to get what you need in order to be successful. Like that's my like ever push for anyone.
You are definitely a gift to so many because every family needs someone just like you to push them, to push them in the right direction. First of all, let's talk about those scholarship applications. You know how lengthy those scholarship applications are? They ask for all your business,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
And some things, honestly, they ask for like, you like, why? Like, is that really
Why do you need
necessary?
this? Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then there comes the essay part. After you fill out
Mhm.
everything, then you're
Mhm.
like, okay, now I gotta write, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, it's it's like I don't want to say that they specifically designed to deter people, but
Yeah,
it looks like that.
it does. It does. It does.
You
Because you
know?
don't, especially if you're not gifted or you're not good at writing. So you're discouraged because I can't fill this out. I don't want to do this because guess what? I can't write. They're not going to select mine. So a lot of the times I tell students that I'm close to, send it to me. I said, you give me a skeleton, send it to me and I'll tweak it for you. If
Right.
someone is like writing an essay to get in college, I said, I said, you have to give me a skeleton. I'm not going to write it for you. So I always tell, if you give me the skeleton, if you send it to me, I always tell my close friends, send it to me and I'll make it happen. And I
Right.
said, so one thing that I do, I always go into prayer whenever I'm working on something for somebody because I want to feel what you're feeling so that I
Mm.
connect with you to write. So whenever I write something for somebody, I always go into prayer because I want to feel your spirit, feel your heart, and feel your drive. And then I want to make it live on paper. So that's like what I always do. But I tell people you have to put it down first. Because
Hmm.
once you put it down, you actually say, this is like the rough draft. Now let's make it the draft. So, but people are afraid to write because sometimes those prompts can trick you or those prompts can trigger something in you because
Hmm.
sometimes the prompts can be personal, and with the
Yes.
prompts being personal it triggers something in you and you don't want to write. But I tell people, if you write it down and trigger something in you, let's sit down and talk about that trigger so that it won't keep you from actually going forward with your goal. So, and
Yeah.
it comes back to that self-awareness, learning how to be self-aware of what's happening in the now,
Hmm.
figuring it out and getting past that. But we have to like teach people how to maneuver through that scholarship application. And I tell people, don't wait till the last minute. You need to chunk it out.
Yes.
Chunk it, do it in chunks. And then
Mhm.
by the time for the submission date, you're ready. But life corners us and we wait to the last minute. I know I'm a procrastinator at times, so I may wait to the
Who you
last minute.
telling?
So, and those applications will like knock you down if you
They
wait until
will.
the last minute. But I
They will.
always say, chunk it, go ahead and start working on it. And then
Piece by
by the
piece.
end, you can press
Hmm.
submit. Mm-hmm.
Right. Piece by
Mm-hmm.
piece. That
Mm-hmm.
is, like I said, you are a blessing, to be in the field, having the passion to do this. And it takes a lot of compassion,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
because you're dealing with a lot of personals. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of people are very protective of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
On these
Mm-hmm.
applications, you have to, first of all, like I said, you have to fill out a whole chunk of stuff.
Yes.
Number one. Number
Yes.
two, you have to then write. So it could be
Mm-hmm.
personal.
Mm-hmm.
You could be triggered, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, you got to go into the parental finances, which is a whole
Yes.
other aspect that is very touchy,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's touchy on both parts. It's touchy for the student to be, it's touchy
Mm-hmm.
for the parent,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Because there are some parents, especially Black parents, it's not until that time that you actually know how much they make,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay?
Yep. Yep.
It's,
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
very vulnerable type of state that you
Mm-hmm.
position yourself to be in,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And whether the
Mm-hmm.
number is a high number or a low number, most parents, they don't discuss those things.
Nope.
Not us, you know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? We don't
Mm-mm.
discuss those
Mm-mm.
things with our kids.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
It's like, what do you need to know for? I'm paying the bills.
Right. Right. And I think with
You know
me,
what I'm talking about, right?
yes, it empowered me. Like when I saw, and I was like, okay, I said, y'all, my siblings and I, we talk about it now. We're like, yo, people thought we were middle class. We were what? Child, we was on the struggle bus, but mom and daddy didn't show nobody that we were there because they carried themselves in a manner
Yeah.
that they poured into us now to say, you don't let nobody know your business. You know how to
Yes.
count your coins. You better know how to work a budget, and you know how to be able to take $20, $40 and make it happen. So that's like what they taught us and instilled in us. And that's what I carried with me when I went to college. Like my friends would go to the grocery store with $20 and they had like three, four things. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna come back to my little buggy with about
Yeah,
10
you're in a
things in
budget.
there.
You're in
Yeah,
a
you know,
budget.
how you get 10 things with $20? I said, well, you just need to know how to spend your money, okay? Because I know how to spend my money, okay? I could take $20 and make it work, make magic happen. So I those lessons from them and like seeing that empowered me to now even pass those lessons down. And like for me, I still use, like, the little transaction ledgers. People
Yes.
probably don't. I still use those, so I pull it out even
Wow.
when I'm out to eat. Let me write my stuff in the ledger because that's what my mom did, and she passed it
Okay.
down to me. So I'm looking at my money like, okay, I got this, this, and this. All right, Lucy, you're doing good.
That's
So
awesome.
I teach people that too because financial literacy is important. Because with Black people, we don't know how to spend money. We don't know what to do with money, especially when we get big money. So not only like as like when it comes to reading and writing, educational literacy, there's different pieces. We need to think about financial literacy, how to
That's
teach
really,
people to
yeah.
look at their money and budget their money. Teaching parents to be prepared for if your child wants to attend the HBCU. What do you need to be doing now to prepare them for that? Looking for those scholarships for those children so that they can actually have money to help them. Because yeah, you may have that, but there's books that need to be purchase, and books are
Mhm.
expensive. So
Ah,
just like preparing students for that, that's like one of my big things. I always tell parents if I when I sit down with them, look, it's many pieces besides them getting the nice things they need to fix their room up. You got to
yes.
think about whether or not if they go to a school that has a fee that you must pay before they register the next semester. A lot of parents don't know that some schools, when you register like for the spring semester, there may be a fee. You might not
Yes.
be prepared for that fee because it's not in your budget. So just teaching students to be prepared and teaching people to be prepared is one of the biggest like pieces that I try to push to parents and families to say, please be prepared for the little pieces that come up when someone goes off on their educational journey.
And even with the applications for scholarship, there are fees,
Yes,
and
yes,
always a fee.
yes,
And if you're gonna
yes.
apply to 10, 20 colleges, that is
Mhm.
a fee.
Mhm.
That you have
Mhm.
to have a
It
budget for
is
that,
a fee. In
you
graduate
know.
school, the fees are more. Like a lot of people won't go to graduate school because it's $50, $65 a pop. I'm not spending that on graduate
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
because it's expensive. But I always tell people find an employer that pays for your education. So I
Hmm.
work at a university. My
Yes.
first degree I paid for.
Hmm.
These last degrees I haven't paid for, because I
Hmm.
work at a university. And a
Hmm.
lot of people told me a long time ago, Lucy, you can leave. You can go ahead and go. You can go in corporate America.
Hmm.
I said, yeah, I can go in corporate America. I said, I
But they're
can
not
really
gonna,
leave now, but that's not where I'm supposed to be.
yeah,
I
they're not
said,
gonna
higher
pick
ed
up
is my
on anything
calling.
like that. Right.
Listen, and I ain't trying to pay for nothing. So I said,
Yeah.
and after I retire from VCU, then I'll think about going into corporate America. I said, but right now there's a calling for me to be there and be a face for Black graduate students and Black undergraduate students at a university who needs to see my face. They need to see Black people in administrative positions because there's not a lot of us in those positions. So if I have to be one of those Black people, then I need to be one of those Black people so that they can see that we can arrive and be there too.
Yes. You have empowered me so much today with this conversation. Like, it's been amazing, totally amazing, to
Oh,
hear
thank you.
everything that you shared because and I love the fact that you are so certain and clear about your calling and didn't allow anyone to deviate you from that calling. Because a
Hmm.
lot of times, many of us get caught in the shiny objects. The grass looks a little greener over there.
Hmm.
They're giving like $20 more over there. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
maybe I should go. Who cares about the benefits? I'm gonna be making more money. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
there are times where, for you, when you put the calling first, that other shiny object is more like, okay, we're gonna have to, I guess, sacrifice on that or kick
Hmm.
back on that for a little bit
Hmm.
because I need to focus on my calling. My
Hmm.
representation is important. I'm here not only for myself, I'm here to make a difference, which
Hmm.
is a lot bigger. It's a bigger purpose than
Hmm.
you just being at a job making your money,
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know? So
Hmm.
I'm glad you shared that part because I believe in this day and age right now, many people still need to hear that. you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
because we're living in a time where it's really more about money, to tell
Yep.
you the truth.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
what we're talking about now, all that is great. However, the mindsets of today do not always receive it the way that we're
Yeah.
passionate and discussing about it.
Mhm.
And maybe
Mhm.
because we're older, you
Mhm.
know, it
Mhm.
could be that. I don't know. But nowadays, honestly, it's more like, well, how much you make a year,
Yep.
you know,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
awesome. But
Yeah.
all of us are not in the position to be there.
Yes.
Actually, many of us have a bigger purpose with a smaller paycheck, you
Yes.
know,
Yes. Yes.
and we have to be able to adhere to those things.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, we
Mhm.
have to be able to adhere to those things.
Mhm.
So your representation really, like, it's very iconic, very iconic, you know, and the fact
Oh,
that you're sticking to it, I love it. I
thank
really
you.
love
It's hard. I tell people
it.
it's
I know it's
hard.
hard.
You know,
I
woo,
know it's hard.
it's really hard. Like I have a lot of late nights, like working, a lot of
Mhm.
tired. Like I'm tired a lot. Like especially now in this last year of my doctoral program because I'm juggling so much. But I'm looking at the end, and the end is that girl, you made it, and not
Yes.
only that you're making it, a lady like she's like a mentor of mine. She said, "How amazing will it be? A man who never learned to read or write produced a child who is now about to be a doctor." Like she put that into perspective for me. So when I think about that, I think about like when I cried like a few weeks ago because I was tired and I didn't want to write, you know. But I share this stuff with people I know when I'm tutoring my students. They think I'm crazy because I get excited when they catch on. And I start running around and dancing, and they're looking like, what is wrong with this lady? But they catch on and they want to see me. So they're like, if we tutoring a day, and the mama's like, no, it's every other week. They want to see me.
Hmm.
And because I come in with the energy to say, okay, let's get ready to do this thing because I know you can do it. Because if I can do it, you can. But I share that with people. But just learning to help people get to where you are, it's a lot of work to stay in this space. Because while I see people traveling and friends doing their thing, and I'm like, well, dang, God,
Yeah.
I'm right. What is going on? Do I need to switch? And God is like, you go ahead and switch if you want to,
Yeah.
because I ain't tell you to switch, but you can switch if you want to,
Yeah.
because you what you get over there is not going to be what I can give you. So I'm learning how to stay in this vein and stay here, and that's what I like to show to youth, and I like to show to like even to my nieces and nephews. And when I talk to my niece, I said, how would you describe me when it comes to empowering people? And she said, you're eager to see us learn. And I sat
Mhm.
there and I was like, I am eager to see them learn. Like I want to see them grow and go, and to see them see me in that light. Of course, I'm like, okay, do I need to scale it back? I don't. But I asked myself, do I need to scale it back? And then one of my students, because I'm so eager, one of my babies, she calls me Harriet Tubman, because in the school won't teach the kids what they need to be taught. So I do that. So
Mhm.
apart, like another thing that I do, I write stage plays. So I write
Mhm.
stage plays based on African American history.
Mhm.
So one of the ones we did was a slave trail, and we're in Richmond, which is one of the main ports. So there, what we did was we did the slave trail, but we also went and we walked the slave trail. So the kids actually had to walk the slave trail by the James River to see. I couldn't do it because I had a boot on my foot, but I had leaders who took the kids on the slave trail. And the beauty in it was in the fact that they embraced the play more because they were able to feel what the slaves felt. So in my teaching, I don't only just tell them, we're going to go out and we're going to feel this thing so you can know how it felt to be in the shoes that you're in. So when we teaching our kids, I don't know how I got here, but even with ourselves, when we teach ourselves, we have to learn how to feel that thing and feel what's in someone else's shoes so that we can show them the way. And I think that's why when it comes to education, I'm so passionate. When students come to my office, I tell them sit down. I ask them two questions. I say, is this a funny? You don't want to sit down? Is this personal or what? I'm all right. And when they say I'm all right, I say, okay. Do you need me to close the door? Or you want to keep it open? And when I say they close the door and then just boom, okay, now why are we here? So I learned how to embrace and feel what other people are feeling so that I can help you get to where you need to be. It's a hard job, it's a hard task, especially in higher education. And even just in general, it's hard to take on other people's thoughts, other people's feelings, but you
Mm-hmm.
also got to learn how to release them. So I'm learning how to release them. At first, I did it, I would just take them all on. But now I'm learning how to release them because if I hold on to them, God can't do anything with them. So, and that's how I carry my life as well, learning how to put that stuff down and let Jesus pick it up because I can't hold on to it. But learning how to motivate and educate and strengthen one another is what I feel like our calling is, the hard calling, because we could be making six figures right now, or we could be making the big bucks. But God is like, nope, I need you right here. So I'm not ashamed to say I'm right here. I'm not ashamed to say this is my calling because I'm sure in it. Even when I'm tired, my sure is sure. And I know this is where I'm supposed to be because I believe in putting your passion into action. And what that means is your passion becomes your work. And when it becomes your life work, it's no longer you just getting up for a job, but this is my career and this is what I do. And now I'm just getting up and I'm doing what I love every day. And that's why I sit in the seat that I sit in. I sit at the tables that I sit in, sometimes being the only African American at the table. And I have to learn how to maneuver that space as a Black female so that I won't become the angry Black woman, but also I'm prepared when I'm sitting at that table so they won't try to say that, okay, is she even qualified to be here? Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
qualified, but let me show you why I'm qualified. So I'm learning how to navigate that space and to teach others how to do it. But you got to be sure in your calling to do so and don't waver even when people try to force you to waver and pull you in the other direction. You can't waver. You got to make sure your sure is sure and know that that's your calling and walk in it.
This is what we call an empowered empath. That is who you are.
Oh,
Is
wow.
definitely. You carry it so well, you know, being of service for people, standing your ground for people, being committed to the journey, feeling what they feel, making sure that you don't carry it. I've been there before, girl, so I know. Make sure you don't carry
Oh
it,
my
you know,
God.
because there used to be a time where I was carrying everybody's stuff plus
Yes.
mine.
Oh
And
my
let me tell
God.
you, it gets to be very heavy.
It
Okay.
does. It
It's not
does.
cool at all. But now that we know how to remove and release
Yes.
those
Yes.
energies, that's a whole different ballgame, a whole
Yes,
new
it is.
world. Okay. That's a blessing in disguise. So congratulations on that,
Thank
because
you. Thank you.
that,
It's tough.
that could be
It's
some
tough.
heavy
Okay.
business. Okay. Taking home things. You know,
Yes.
are you married?
No, I'm not. I'm single.
Okay. So you're
Hmm.
single,
Hmm.
no
Hmm.
children.
No children. No.
Okay. But still though, being in your own space, you know, I'm sure you probably have people around you
Yep. Hmm.
taking
Hmm.
it's too much to carry. It's
Yeah,
too
it
much.
is. It is. It is.
So, but you're definitely an empowered empath, and I'm very proud to hear everything, to really indulge in everything that you shared, because we need you. We really do, everywhere.
Thank you.
And I'm going to pray and to continue to empower you in prayer so that you can continue with your path and just do
Thank
what you need to
you.
do with the calling,
Thank
because
you.
you you are necessary. You really are. You
Thank
know,
you. Thank
it's a very limited type of field, and not that many people go into it because, first of
you.
all, it may not be as exciting for most people. You
Hmm.
know, a lot of times when you talk about those type of things back in the days, you think about the old guidance counselor that
Yeah.
you had and everything, and you're like, oh, that, you know, back then you're like, that's boring.
Yes.
You know, but you're fulfilling that task in such a
Hmm.
jovial type of
Hmm.
space for you. You
Hmm.
know, I mean, you give it a different persona.
Hmm.
It's not like the old school teachers that we knew from before. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
Girl, please. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
Okay?
do. I do. With the look, pull
Yes.
pull them glasses up. Thank you very much.
Okay. And then the students be like, oh God, here she go. Here she go. It's not like that. You coming
It's
in
not.
like
It's
with your
not.
style and everything all kept up, you know, and be
Oh
like, look,
God.
look, how we gonna do? But it's a different time also, thank God, you
Hmm.
know. It's
Yes.
not like back in the
Yes.
day when we were little kids, because some teachers, honestly, I just be like, I don't know how I made it through, because some of them like we could talk all day about that.
Oh God.
You
Oh
know,
God.
you be like, oh God, here
Oh
she
my
go.
goodness.
Oh Lord,
I
here's
did.
what
Like,
this is.
like
But
Lord, did I floated through that class, but I got through. That's all I
yeah.
know.
So yeah,
Oh God.
we definitely
Yes.
need you. You're in the right spot. I'm happy. I'm glad that you're part of Archie, you know.
Thank you. I'm
Um,
excited.
yes, Archie is a very beautiful organization. You're already pressing forward. Like I said, you're already a diamond. Forge under pressure by all means. Okay, there's no way. You know, you being selected for this year. I mean, we don't have to think twice about it. Yeah, we know why. All right, that's for sure. But
Oh God.
what I'm really interested and excited about for you is that, you know, just like me, I was in a position where when I went to Archie, I was already an
Mhm.
award-winning author. Then I became an awardee for
Mhm.
under Archie, and it kind of steered me in
Mm.
different directions.
Okay.
Like I say, I do
Mhm.
this show.
Mhm.
It's very pleasant
Mhm.
to me. I learn
Mhm.
from people and I pour into people. But that's because of my involvement, closeness with Archie that made
Mhm.
me, you know, create something like this.
Wow.
I would have never
Mhm.
thought of anything like
Mhm.
this had I
Mhm.
not been connected to all those ladies and seeing what everybody else is doing. You know, everybody has something unique in Archie that they do.
Oh
And
wow.
I know that the Archie in you is going to play once
Mhm.
you get into that sector, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
and you're
Mhm.
becoming, at this point, I don't know which part of the diamond you're going to be, okay? Because you're already done up
Oh
there, but it's going to be totally amazing for you, you know? You're going to be
thank you.
blossoming more and more than you are now.
Oh
And
wow.
that's definite because every woman in Achi goes through that route. It's very
Mhm.
transformative,
Mhm.
you know.
Wow.
Whether you're ready or not, the fact that you're here
Mhm.
already said that you should be here, you know.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
for Achi, it's really a chosen path. And
Mhm.
how it's chosen is the person who chooses to nominate you,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So they put you on a route.
Mhm.
Like till today, I still don't know who nominated me.
Oh wow. Mhm.
I never
Mhm.
knew, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it was God sent because
Yes.
I made it there from 2019, and ever since then, that was it for me. Then I
Wow.
became involved with the organization, and then I started really, you know, getting into what they're doing and
Mhm.
participating and everything else. So, what's gonna happen to you, girl? I'm
Well,
gonna
I
be
don't know.
watching because by then you'll be probably almost done with school.
I
Okay,
sure will.
complete with the whole scholastic part. Okay, you're gonna come out like I'm free finally. Okay,
I will
what
be so excited.
like what do I do with myself? Oh my God,
Oh,
you
good.
know. And then you knowing you're always creating, so you're most likely gonna be like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna create now? Like I have time to create stuff now. Like sky's gonna be the limit for you.
Hey, I'm excited. Like I already have two pieces in the work that I'm working, well, three pieces in the work that I'm working on. Hopefully by December I can put out something for children, um, a self-love book journey for
Yeah.
children, and then I have something for women based on my life that will come out probably next year. So I'm creating. I'm like working
So you're
as I work.
nonstop.
Yeah.
You're a nonstop creator, co-creator with God. You just
Yeah,
there.
yes, yes. I create. If he gives it to me, I go and I run. So yeah, I create.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Miss Lucy
Yes,
Hudson,
thank
it's
you.
definitely been such a pleasure. I mean, thank you for blessing my show. Thank you for blessing me tonight.
Oh,
Really,
thank you.
you know, there's no preparation with my show, as everybody know. I don't know who I'm meeting. It's all
Mhm.
sensory to me. It's all intuitive
Mhm.
because that's who I
Mhm.
am. you know,
Yes.
and the conversation just flows. So we
Yes.
communicated as if we met each other before,
We
but
did.
the beauty of it is that we really don't know each other, and I
Nope.
love
Hey.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh
I
my
love it.
goodness.
You know.
Thank
So,
you.
so now that we got introduced to one another,
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
let's continue to be connected.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, let's be abreast to everything that's going on with each other
Yes.
so that we can support each other continuing on.
Yes,
Of
ma'am.
course, we'll be connected through Archie as well,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
but on your personal projects, please, by all means,
Yes. I
keep me posted.
will. I will. I will.
Okay.
I will. I
And
promise I
then
will.
and then after you're done with everything and things are
Mhm.
clear, by all means, come back.
I
Come back
will. I
to the show.
will. I
Give us an
am. I'm gonna
update.
message you and be like, okay, let me give you an update where I am. So yes, I will definitely stay in touch.
Yes.
You have a beautiful spirit, beautiful
Thank
personality. I'm
you.
glad we connected, and I'm
I'm
excited
so
about
happy.
what's going to happen for you too. So yes, 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 yes.
So one thing
Thank you.
before we go that I want
Mhm.
to ask you,
Mhm.
I'm preparing a part of a blog for me to
Mhm.
some of the interviewees, and if you're
Okay.
able to email me your bio,
Okay.
I would appreciate that so that I
I
could post
will.
you on with your bio on the blog.
Okay. I
Okay,
will. I'll do that. I
and then
definitely
I'll send you
will.
a copy as well once it's posted.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
for being with us.